Hello, everyone, and welcome to Motherhood Uncovered. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are really excited to be here with our two guest speakers and to join with you in learning more about holistic nutrition. Soon, our experts are going to give a little bit more information, some detailed information you're not going to want to miss out on in this call. But first, I wanted to just take a quick minute and let you know the logistics of the webinar today. I wanted to tell you a little bit about who the moms are behind Motherhood Uncovered and about our great giveaway that most of you should have already heard about. If not, you're going to hear about it from me. I'm just going to switch back to the slides real quick here, and we'll get started. Okay, so the logistics of today's webinar, if this is your first time joining us, welcome and thank you for being here. If not, we're glad to have you back. But you can ask questions by leaving them at the bottom of the YouTube page. You can also leave comments. We love to hear about you and what's going on, and it makes us feel like we're not just talking to the screen. So feel free to fire anything away, even if it's, oh yeah, I don't like broccoli too, or something goofy. Post it on there. It's fun to have that back and forth banter. And we are going to try to answer all of those questions as quickly as we can right after the presentation. But if we don't get to it for whatever reason, we will be posting, not live, but we'll be posting the answers to your questions afterwards. You can also feel free to email questions to both Sarah and I, and our emails are listed there. And this video webinar will be archived forever at this same link, which is great. So if you need to pause it and run and go get a kid out of the toilet or something, if you need to pause it, do so. If you want to share it with friends or embed it in your blog and website, please feel free to do so. So who is and who are and what is Motherhood Uncovered? So as I mentioned before, my name is Nicole Zollner, and I am the CEO and founder of Wear Nursing Bras and also the co-founder of Motherhood Uncovered. I have joined forces with the amazing Sarah from Sarah Wells Breast Pump Bags to form the Motherhood Uncovered collaboration. Now our mutual goal is to connect new and expectant moms with experts who can share straightforward and helpful information regarding all topics motherhood. We aim to cover a wide range of topics, as you've noticed. If this is not your first webinar with us, you can also check out the previous ones on our website. But in this series, we talk about all kinds of things that moms may maybe not have heard about, some things you want to know more information about. We hand select the very best interviewers in their field to give you accurate and up-to-date information. We really hope you enjoyed today's topics, and check out our website if you've missed any of our previous shows. As I said just a minute ago, I'm the founder of Wear Nursing Bras, and we are the only nursing bra that has a pocket in the pull-down flap. Our pocket holds many things. It's getting up to Halloween season. It can hold your candy, although that's not what it was intended for, but it can. It was made basically to hold a warm or cool pack and provide moms with any breastfeeding discomfort, relief from that discomfort that they might have. The pocket also holds removable molded pads, which is amazing because it gives you some great shape. It also covers your nipples and nursing pads and can soak up any light leaks that you have. This is especially great for moms who are heavy leakers and you need to switch it out throughout the day. I know some people really have that problem. If you want to hear more about my particular story or our products, check out our website at nizaware.com. So as most of you might have already heard, we are doing a special multi-product giveaway today. Those of you who have registered and shared this event on social media already, you're entered. But for those of you who have not already entered, go to our website, register with us, and then it will list all the different ways that you can gain more entries because these products are amazing, you guys. I want to thank our generous Mom Invented product sponsors, and in case you've never seen these products, I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one just quickly here because I know we want to keep moving along. But first, our amazing speakers are going to be giving away a free, tailored, one-on-one nutrition consultation for every listener today. You heard me right. Every single listener, you guys. This is so exciting. So don't worry if while you are listening today you're thinking, yeah, this sounds great, but how am I going to make this work for me and my family? Because these ladies are going to give you some great easy steps towards your specific goals. Now the details of this are going to be explained later, okay? But share this now. I know both Sarah and I have recently posted on our Facebook page. You can just go repost it, share it with your friends. I know you're not going to want to miss out this. You can pause this. You can do it while we're talking, so I'm just going to keep going through some housekeeping things. So, additionally, Anna Naturals is giving away one of their hospital bag must-haves, their Blissful Birth Aroma Kit. Now, Anna Naturals believes that you shouldn't have to give anything up in order to have a product that's natural and free of harsh chemicals and additives. Their kit includes their Calm, which is used during early labor and will relax your body and allow labor to progress more effectively. They also have a Go Time, which is a natural blend of essential oils that helps move labor along and targets the uterus and can stimulate and strengthen contractions and encourage consistent progress. Their Drive helps support natural drug-free pain relief. Their Focus helps to clear your mind and focus your thoughts on tasks at hand. And their Energy is uplifting and energizing, and it uses essential oils to give you a natural boost of energy when you start to fade during active labor, as we know that can happen. Our next product is Spabang, and it's a unique, durable, environmentally friendly, reusable snack bags that's crafted with food-safe materials, contains no lead, no BPA, and no phthalates. And that's the green little square you see up on the upper left hand of your screen. The best part about this, you guys, is that you can toss them in the dishwasher daily and have them come out clean just like you bought them. These things are pretty much non-destructible. Whether you want them in your kid's lunchbox, you can use them to store crayons, on the plane, at the pool, at the beach. They're perfect for every family on the go. Ditch the plastic and smelly fabric to save on some cash. Our next company is called Quick Split, and they're at the bottom lower left of your screen, and their product makes cutting up your child's food a breeze. Sure, it looks like a pizza cutter, but it is so much more, you guys. This can cut up quesadillas, hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken, spaghetti, PB&J, pancakes, waffles, anything your kids want to eat, it will cut. Plus, it does so with little mess and effort. You can keep it in your diaper bag because it has a mess-free carrying case. Never again will you have to be sitting in a restaurant, as some of you, might have experienced. I know I have, as your child is screaming because they're hungry and you are struggling to cut up their food. Plus, another dishwasher-safe product. I think these mompreneurs are pretty smart and they know they need to make dishwasher safe, right? We also have milk and cookies. They make an amazingly yummy treat that boosts your milk supply. It's created by 2 working physician moms who want to support their breastfeeding goals. These healthy treats have won many awards and come in flavors like cranberry almond oatmeal and oatmeal chocolate chip. They also have a dairy-free option. And last but not least, we have a pack of Go Chews by Mommy Meals, and they're in the lower right-hand screen of your screen. They have created the first line of whole food energy snacks built specifically for breastfeeding moms and their families. They're bite-sized, allergen-free, and delicious, and I love their slogan, you guys, if you check out their website. It says, hide them if you must, share them if you dare. So they certainly sound yummy. This giveaway is going on until midnight Eastern time tonight, so register. Do it now, and share it with anyone who you think would love these products. Now I want to introduce you all to my Motherhood Uncovered co-founder, Miss Sarah Wells.
Great. Thank you so much, Nicole. Hi, everybody. Good morning, afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're joining us from. So excited for the event today. First, just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. Again, I'm Sarah Wells, CEO and founder of Sarah Wells Breast Pump Bags. I founded my business, I'm coming up on a year next month, so it's gone by fast, but I have almost a year of business behind me. And the idea for a stylish, functional, discreet breast pump bag really came from my own personal experience when I went back to work from leave. I had a lot of people in meetings pointing out my breast pump bag. Oh yeah, breastfeeding, aren't you struggling to be away from your child? Isn't it difficult? And I kind of felt like I really wanted something a bit more discreet and definitely more fashionable. So I designed the bags, have had them up online, sarahwellsbags.com and Amazon for about a year now, and actually wanted to show you all, very first people to see it, one of my new bags coming out this fall. For those of you who love color, I'm excited to debut a blue bag as well as 2 other styles. So I hope you'll check them out, again, sarahwellsbags.com or amazon.com. So with that, I would like to get started on our excellent presentation we have today, Holistic Nutrition for Pregnant and New Moms. In this session, we're going to cover the top 5 foods that every pregnant and breastfeeding mom should be eating, but probably isn't. And I have the feeling that no matter how attuned you are to your health and your nutrition, I think we're all probably going to learn something new today. So this is a great topic to bring to you. I know that as busy moms and moms-to-be, you really want practical tips that you can apply right away. And of course, being the co-founder of Motherhood Uncovered, I got to see the PowerPoint in advance, and I can promise you that you're going to walk away with some really concrete points on what you can do to make a difference immediately in your life and your nutrition. We're incredibly lucky to be joined by two excellent presenters today. They're not only experts in their field, but like most of our Motherhood Uncovered speakers, they are also moms, just like you. So they know not only professionally how to give you the best tips to be a healthier you, but they also know practically how to incorporate this into your life. So I'd like to read a little bit about them. Leslie Shaw and Kathy Fenwick are both certified holistic health nutrition coaches and educators focused on real food and holistic approaches rather than processed food, fad diets, and quick fixes. They coach individuals who want to transition from convenience foods to a sustainable way of nourishing themselves, with a focus on women who want to start or raise a family on real food. And so with that, I'd like to turn it over to Kathy and Leslie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Leslie Shaw, and I'm really excited to be able to share this information with you. And thank you so much to Sarah and Nicole for hosting such an informative resource for moms. So as holistic health coaches, we know that food and the food that we eat directly correlates to our energy, our moods, and how we feel.
And as moms, we both know the realities of motherhood, especially those first few weeks after you have a new baby. The lack of sleep, the hormone changes can really hit you hard as you're thrown into this crazy new world.
And although there was a lot of lack of sleep and so many changes for me, especially with my first, feeling extremely overwhelmed, I felt fortunate and grateful to have the knowledge to know what I needed to do to nourish my body through all those trying times and nourish my baby's body, as well as knowing how to balance my blood sugar and to balance the hormone roller coaster that we're all on. And that makes me so excited to be able to share that information with other moms.
Yeah, exactly. I think for both of us, we recognize the value and the difference that good food, healthy food can really make for you. And we're happy to be sharing that with you all so that you can feel as good as you can, especially in the beginning when, some things are just a reality. So no matter whether you've had a baby, you're pregnant, you're on your second, it's never too late to learn about the impact that food has on your body and to start making some changes in your life. So with that, let's jump into our presentation. So just a couple things before we unveil our top 5 food groups. We wanted to let you know that the information that we're sharing with you today is based on research that's done by great scientists over years and years and years. We are going to be talking about traditional foods that have been eaten for centuries across lots of different cultures. We don't believe in fad diets, and none of these foods are fad. These are all foods that have been proven to be nourishing for the human body. We both recognize that there's no one diet that fits everyone. We don't believe in that at all. But in terms of fertility and pregnancy, the foods that we're going to talk about have been found to be the most nourishing. So some of you that are listening in may have digestive disorders or allergies or other conditions which might require a more customized approach for your particular situation. And so that might be a situation in which working with a health coach might help you adapt what is best for your body. So fruits and veggies, just another quick point I wanted to make. We love fruits and veggies, but we're not going to be talking about them today. They're wonderful. We all know we should be eating lots of different fruits and veggies on a daily basis. You can basically consider them nature's vitamins. So if you're not eating them, eat them. You can have them in salads, lightly steamed, raw, juices, smoothies. However you can get them into your diet, you should definitely do that. They're critical to your health. We wanted to share with you information that you might not know today. So information that your doctor might not be telling you, or you might not be reading in your favorite pregnancy magazines. That's what we're going to be talking about because it's critical for pregnancy and breastfeeding and your health and your baby's health. So the big unveil, top 5 foods.
Yeah, so next slide. Okay, so as Kathy said, we decided to pick 5 foods to tell you about today. And what we want you to do right now is go grab a piece of paper or an index card or something that you can actually write these on in big letters. And after this webinar, we want you to take it and tape it to your refrigerator. So if you're like me, then you read a lot of blogs and you listen to webinars, and then sometimes by the end of the day, you forgot about what you read or learned. So if you have this written down and it's on your refrigerator, then you're more likely to buy these foods and eat these foods. What we're going to tell you today about each one of these is why they're nutritious and healthy for you, and also how you can get them. But you don't necessarily need to remember the why they're nutritious, because you can always go back and re-listen to the webinar and get that. So do us a favor and write these down and post them on your refrigerator. Okay.
I eat them every day.
So the next slide. So right here you can see the key nutrients for you and your baby. And you can see that there are a lot of different foods here. We are going to provide a handout for you that you can print off after this webinar. But what I did is we underlined the top 5 foods that we're talking about, and you can see them on this particular slide. And then if we go to the next slide, we have the role of vitamin A, D, and K, which are 3 of the most essential vitamins for pregnant and nursing mamas to have in their diet. And I'll let you take a second to scan this slide and read all of the things that happen in our bodies with vitamin A, D, and K. And let me just point out a few. So with vitamin E, it helps our immune system, and it helps prevent prolonged labor. It helps prevent birth defects. With vitamin D, of course, that helps with our healthy bones and our nervous system and breathing. And vitamin K helps with our bones and also our teeth and the brain and just our overall learning capacity. So 2 of the foods that have most vitamin A and D and K are pastured eggs and breastfed meat. So we're going to start there, and we're going to start with pastured eggs. And just in case you didn't hear me, I said pastured eggs and not pasteurized eggs. The whole egg and buying eggs can be, or understanding eggs can be extremely confusing for all of us. People wonder, should I buy organic? Should I buy vegetarian, vegan? What about soy-fed? And what does cage-free mean? What you do need to know is that what the hens are fed directly impacts the nutrition of the egg and how the hens are raised. So if you look at this slide, a pastured egg has 8 times more vitamin D and 2 times more vitamin A. And their yellow yolk shows the, it's indicative of a nutritious egg. So if you look at the egg, the conventional supermarket egg that's on the right-hand side, and notice that the yolk is almost white. And it may even have been 100% white if the chicken wasn't fed feed that had yellow dye in it, which is a common practice, unfortunately. So what's important to know is that the hens are actually omnivores, and they eat and are supposed to graze on bugs and worms, and they're actually not vegetarians. And so a lot of times we will read vegetarian and we think that would be something that, it sounds healthy, vegetarian or vegan egg. They print it in large print, and it can be very confusing because hens aren't supposed to have soy. And something kind of interesting to note is that now there are more and more people with egg allergies, and we're finding out that in some cases they're not really allergic to the eggs. They're actually allergic to the soy that's been fed to the chicken. Sadly, the words organic don't mean pastured, and so that's another thing to watch out for. That in some cases these hens are not at all on pasture and they're in barns, and in some cases there will be as many as 85,000 hens in one building, in a quote organic building. The other thing that can be confusing is cage-free, which it may not mean that they're in a cage, but it also doesn't mean that they're on pasture and they're grazing and getting those bugs and worms and the sunlight that they need. So what you need to take away and remember is when you're buying your eggs, try and buy eggs that say pastured on them. And if we go to the next slide, here is, fortunately, the Cornucopia Institute, and you can find them online. They have created what's called an egg scorecard. And this is an example of their egg scorecard. And it's just a super healthy way for you to look up the eggs that you eat. They've rated over 70 different types of eggs, and you can see where yours stack up. You can see if the eggs that you're purchasing are actually providing you the nutrients that you hope. So an example is we in my family, we usually buy our eggs from a local farmer, and we know their practices. But there are times that I can't do that, and so I looked up on the scorecard and found out that my local Whole Foods market sells Vital Choice eggs, and they're rated as exemplary on the scorecard. Hence, that's what I buy. Now, those eggs are more expensive, but they do provide such a bigger nutritious bang for your buck. Okay, so moving on from eggs to grass-fed meat. Grass-fed meat is really so much more nutritious than grain-fed meat, and not everybody knows this, and what I wanted to share with you today is that grass-fed meat actually has higher level omega-3, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. Grain-fed meat, on the other hand, does not contain the precursors to vitamin A that are found in plant pigments, and for the simple reason that grains don't contain those precursors. So grass-fed meat has those precursors, and the precursors to vitamin A, interestingly enough, actually causes the fat in the grass-fed meat to look a little yellow. And so that can be an indication that your meat is more nutrient-rich. Grass-fed meat contains significantly more antioxidants, as well as higher levels of beneficial nutrients, including zinc, iron, phosphorus, sodium, and potassium. So it's really safe to say that grass-fed versus grain-fed gives you a lot bigger bang for your buck on all fronts, with significantly higher levels of the omega-3, the antioxidants, the minerals, and other nutrients. So on to the next slide, a great way for you to buy these products. You're probably wondering, how can I get my hands on this? And grass-fed meat is now sold in more and more regular grocery stores and other places, and there are many farmers markets all across the country where you can actually go and talk to the farmers. But if you're wondering how you can get hooked up with maybe a regular farm, for instance, my family, we order regularly every Wednesday and pick up all of our meat and eggs and etc. So you can go to this website, westonAprice.org, And on their homepage, on the right-hand side, you'll see Find a Local Chapter, and it will bring you to this page. And you can scroll down and find your state, and then find the chapter that's closest to you, and contact them. Ask your local chapter leader to help you find this information, where to buy these products. They will tell you where and how to do it. And also, you may consider even becoming a member of Weston A. Price Foundation, because they send out a quarterly journal to their members that has some of the best nutrition advice and information out there. Okay, having said that, Kathy is going to tell us about the next food group.
Okay, so the third food group is traditional saturated fats, which might surprise some people, and we particularly want to focus in on coconut oil, which is really nutritious because it is a traditional healthy saturated fat that makes a huge difference in your diet. A lot of us lived through the decades where no fat, low fat was really touted as being healthy. I think that's being debunked now more and more. I mean, I myself, when I was in college, I totally fell for that. I sort of weaned myself off of salad dressing, and was pretty proud that I ate a dry salad, and I think I convinced myself that it was healthy, and tasted good, but well, neither really was that true. So what I want to tell you today is that fat is good, and the right kind of fat won't make you fat, and it's critical, especially for pregnancy and nursing. Healthy fats help your body with growth, energy, nutrient absorption, and metabolism, and help your organs function optimally. Healthy saturated fats are full of vital nutrients that really satisfy your body, what your body needs. It curbs your cravings for fried foods and sugars, and it prevents you from being too hungry. So if you think about having a pretty hearty breakfast of eggs with cheese and some sausage or bacon and some veggies, you're pretty satiated for the whole morning, and that's a pretty healthy breakfast. You're not having hunger pangs later, an hour later. But contrast that with eating something like a bag of chips, which is so easy to eat more than one portion, if not multiple portions of chips, and never really feel satisfied. And the reason for that is because chips are processed food. They don't have any nutrients, and they're not really satisfying what your body's looking for. A lot of times when you have cravings, it's your body looking for nutrients, and oftentimes they're satisfied through healthy fats. So we're not just saying to increase your fat intake overall and run to McDonald's after this webinar is over. We're specifically focused on traditional fats from healthy sources that are nutrient-rich and that people have been eating for thousands of years. So in addition to coconut oil, other sources of traditional healthy fats are butter from grass-fed cows, animal fat from grass-fed animals such as lard that you can use for cooking, olive oil, fish oil, whole dairy products from grass-fed cows, whole milk. And again, as Leslie was stating, it's the quality that really makes a difference. So you need to buy from a reputable source, your farmer's market, buy food that's grass-fed and sustainably grown. So just to focus in a little bit more on coconut oil and some tips on how to incorporate that on the next slide. So coconut oil, there's a bit of a craze around it now, and for good reason. I mean, it's healthy, and for the reasons I stated, and it's pretty delicious, and it's easy to add into your diet. It has a pretty high smoke point, so you can cook with it if you want to do a stir fry or meat for a quick dinner. You can add a tablespoon or two of it to your smoothie, and it gives you a little bit of an exotic coconutty flavor. People are even blending it with coffee these days, so you can put a cup of coffee and a tablespoon of coconut oil in your blender, and when you whip that up, it takes on a creamy latte-like consistency versus an oily consistency if you were just going to put a tablespoon in. Or you can just take it as a supplement by the tablespoonful. So our next great food for mamas is sauerkraut. And sauerkraut is nutritious because it's a fermented food. And when foods are fermented, the sugars and starches in that food are turned into lactic acid, which produces probiotics. And it converts a food like cabbage into something even more nutritious with even higher levels of vitamins, and it becomes even more digestible by your body. Fermented foods in particular are awesome for your gut health, and your gut is really important because it houses 80% of your immune system. So if you find yourself sick a lot or having health issues like that, oftentimes you need to really boost your immune system, and you want to start with your gut. Our gut digests our food, it creates nutrients, and it regulates our metabolism. For mamas, what's interesting is that we pass our gut flora on to our babies through a vaginal birth, but also through breastfeeding. So it really benefits you and your baby to have your gut flora optimal so that you can give your baby a really good start. We know that bad bacteria makes us sick and that we should have, try to avoid that, but it's also important to boost our immune system with the good bacteria. And fermented foods naturally contain the probiotics that build up those good guys in our guts. Some of you may know that you can buy probiotics in pill form, but those are not as readily absorbable by your body. So if you can, getting it from food sources is ideal. And again, you want to make sure that the quality of your sauerkraut and other fermented foods is good. So a few tips for picking the healthy sauerkraut is that you want to make sure you buy it from the refrigerated section, because that means it has live cultures. Pasteurization kills the good bacteria, so you want to buy a brand that's not pasteurized and doesn't contain any added sugars, preservatives, or vinegars. So Bubby's is a brand that is sold in the DC area that I often buy, and I really enjoy, and so does my 2-year-old, which is kind of funny. But if you don't like sauerkraut, other fermented foods to try include kimchi, kombucha, which is a fermented tea, fermented chutneys, or yogurt. So just, again, remember that fermented foods are full of probiotics that really help your gut and help your immune system be healthy. So for our final food, bone broth. Bone broth is a super nutritious food for mamas, for babies, and really for the whole family. It's very easy to consume. It's very nutrient dense. It's super healing and has been a staple of healthy diets across the world for centuries. 3 things I wanted to point out about bone broth is that it's easily digestible in the liquid form. Body knows what to do with it right away and quickly absorb the nutrients that are in it. The second is that it contains a ton of minerals like calcium, phosphorus, silicon that are in the bones of the animal that is extracted then and you can drink in liquid form. And third is that it's very healing for your gut, and it's very aids in the digestion of your food. There's all sorts of other benefits like healthy skin, bone, and nails, which I think everyone can appreciate. So the best thing to do really is to make your own bone broth at home. It's really easy, it's very affordable, and if you make a big batch of it, you can freeze and use it later. So again, the quality is important. You want to use bones from grass-fed cows, and there's a quick recipe on here, but basically what you do is you soak the bones covered in water for about an hour with 2 tablespoons of vinegar, and that helps pull as many of the minerals out from the bones as possible. And then you put this crock pot on low and simmer it for 1 to 3 days. The longer that you cook it, the more nutrients that come in the bone broth. You can add some veggies if you want some more flavor. And then after that, you can just sip on it. You can make soups with it. You can use it to make your rice and other grains instead of water. So if you're interested, there's a book called Nourishing Broth that has lots of information on broths and different techniques that you can use in different recipes. So So those are the 5 foods. We do have some resources that we wanted to leave you with in case in the future. There's a couple of websites on this slide, that some of which Leslie mentioned, and some other ones that we like, as well as some books that we think are really important for this topic. And then the next slide is just some of the references that we use to get this information, if you wanted to follow up and take a look at some of that. So before we go, we just wanted to provide a little bit more information on the free coaching session that we're offering.
Okay, so thank you so much for taking your time to listen, and we're excited to answer some questions, but we did want to let you know that all of the listeners could sign up for a free health coaching session by emailing healthynutritiousmama@gmail.com and sign up for your session. You may be wondering what health coaching is, and as health coaches, we partner with you to help you navigate all of the contradictory nutritional information out there, and we help you set goals that are realistic and sustainable. And we really listen to you to make sure we're finding a solution that fits your unique body and your unique lifestyle. Everybody is different, and that's why we don't believe in fad diets, because everybody has a unique, different situation.
So just to add on to that, usually we work with clients through a very customized one-on-one program that is geared towards that individual's specific needs and helps the individual make small, lasting changes. We know that change is hard. It's hard for us too, and it's sometimes nice to have someone that's on your side that can make recommendations and help you get to where you want to be one step at a time. So through our program, that's how we work with our clients, and we include all sorts of things like handouts and giveaways and meal planning, grocery store trips, whatever it is that is required for that particular person's situation. So thanks again for listening. Thank you to Sarah and Nicole for having us.
Great. Thank you so much, ladies. This was so helpful, and quite honestly, made me very hungry. So after this, I think with the weather turning a little colder, may be going to make a good bone broth afterwards. So thank you so much. We have a bunch of questions actually pouring in here, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first comes from Richly Designs, and she says, I'm on an allergen-free diet because of my son's food allergies. Anything I should be eating to be sure he's getting the iron that he needs?
Okay, that's a great question, and this is Leslie. It depends a lot on what the allergens are, but without having that specific information, for instance, if you're not currently having soy or eggs or something else, all of the grass-fed meats that we talked about are wonderful for iron and better than the iron-fortified options, like some of the rice cereals, because they're natural and they're naturally occurring nutrients. The other thing is something that a lot of people don't like and are scared of, but liver is a wonderful source of iron. It actually has almost 3 times the amount of iron as beef does, and so it's something that you could just put a teeny bit like in your ground beef when you're making burgers, and you would get a huge bang of nutrients. If you like pâtés, and some people have never tried them, and so if you've never tried them, I highly recommend that you spread some on a cracker and test it out because they're delicious. And then, you know, there's always the old school like liver and onions, and it's becoming popular. It's interesting. I'm seeing it on menus as appetizers now. So liver's kind of making a big comeback, and that's because it is just so incredibly nutritious from an iron standpoint.
And just to add on to that, there is some iron that's found in some vegetables like leafy greens and some grains, but there's 2 types of iron, and the iron in animal foods there's a lot more of it, but it's also more easily absorbed by your body. Another tip is to include vitamin C when you eat iron-rich foods, because vitamin C helps your body absorb that. So you can just squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on your food. That goes with most things. Or, you know, eat an orange right after or something like that. Include leafy greens.
That's great. Thank you. I love the idea of putting a little bit of the liver in the hamburger. I would have never thought to sort of sneak the liver in. That's awesome.
I need to do that too, because I don't like liver.
You know, we think a lot about sort of sneaking foods in for kids, but that might be one that I sneak in for the husband too. So. We have a question from Jennifer D. She wants to know, is coconut oil overwhelming, and does it make everything taste like coconuts?
I personally don't think it's overwhelming. I mean, it definitely does impart a little bit of that like exotic island coconut flavor, which I like. I would say that she should start, I'm assuming maybe she doesn't like the flavor of coconut, so I would say start small and, you know, don't throw in 2 tablespoons into a half-cup smoothie, but just start small and see how you like the flavor of it.
Mm-hmm. And go ahead.
I was going to say, if I can interject, I don't love coconuts, to be honest, but I've been using it in my stir fries and cooking with it, and I don't feel like it really changes the taste at all, so that might be a nice option, too.
Yeah, it's a great option. And then don't forget the other traditional fats. We picked coconut oil because it's just so popular now and it's so easy to find. But believe it or not, lard, if it's from an animal that was raised properly, is a healthy fat. It's I always like to think about, you know, our fats and oils should get hard when they're refrigerated, and that's a good sign that it's natural. So like if you think about bacon grease, it gets hard after it cools down, whereas some of the synthetic ones that aren't natural never get hard, like the canola oils and vegetable oils, and that's not normal. It should get hard.
That's great. Another great tip. Jennifer also wanted to know, what are some good tips on getting a very picky toddler to eat more healthy? I try to hide veggies in food, but he never wants to eat what I make. Please help.
Yeah, that's a question that we often get, because toddlers are notoriously picky, and a lot of the information I read about that is, you know, that's just a natural part of their development. But obviously, we want them to eat as well as possible. So, you know, exposing your child often to the same food helps. A lot of times they need to see a food 10 to 12 times before they taste it, which just sounds a little crazy, but I know that actually has worked for me and my toddler, who didn't want to eat tomatoes of all things. He finally ate it after like the 10th time. Cooking the vegetables in different ways sometimes helps. So, you know, try steamed, try roasted. Roasting actually is a good one because it brings out the natural sweetness in vegetables. And you might want to start off with something easy, like sweet potato fries, or roasting carrot sticks and making them into fun, like finger food shapes that they can pick up. Also, minimizing snacking. A lot of times, you know, kids kind of eat all day long and they get full of crackers or goldfish or whatever, and of course they're not hungry when dinner time comes around. So, you know, trying to control that and get them on a food schedule. And my 2-year-old actually kind of, I have to right now feed him in sort of shifts or courses, I guess. So I start him, I don't put all the food on the same plate because he'll just go for what he loves, like cheese. So I have to give him what I want him to eat most important that day first, and he'll usually, that's when he's most hungry, so that's what he'll eat first, and then I'll, you know, give him the subsequent foods.
Great.
Yeah, I think just another point about that is usually I would say 90% of the time when I've come across the picky eaters, it's because they've gotten into wanting the carbs. You know, we've introduced them to maybe the goldfish or the crackers or the breads or the cereals, etc. And I always like to tell people as moms, we don't realize how addictive those carbs are. And they really are just like giving your child candy in a way. The way it elevates their blood sugar in their little bodies is, you know, their bodies are so much smaller than ours, and that's why they want to keep coming back. It's almost like a quick high in a way. And so I never recommend people to just like go cold turkey. And I also don't think so much about vegetables at first because that's also a carb. And so even though I love vegetables and we have them all the time, we always have green stuff at dinner, one thing for you to just think about is trying to make sure you get that protein in first. So making sure your picky eaters have protein at breakfast. You can calculate how much protein they're supposed to have in a day. You can kind of split that out between breakfast, lunch, and dinner and snacks. And just make sure they have enough protein. So, for instance, if you're going to give them a snack of an apple, also try to make sure they have some protein with that. And their blood sugar is going to regulate. They're going to have less cravings for the carbs. So sort of start thinking about how you can crowd out some of those foods that you don't want them to be eating.
Those are just excellent tips. Couple of things I was going to add too from my own picky eater experience with my daughter. Underscore what you were saying, Kathy, about the try 10 or 12 times. And I've also noticed sometimes just letting it go for a little while and putting some space between trying to introduce that food and coming back to it later. If my daughter, who tried something multiple times and won't do it, but maybe give it a few weeks and I bring it back in a different way, it's like she kind of, had built up sort of the battle of the wills here. And if we just take a break from it, when it comes back around, she'll be much more interested in it. It's sort of a clean slate, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then also was going to underscore what Leslie was saying. I found with my daughter, who tends to just eat a lot less at dinner time, but has a really healthy appetite at breakfast and lunch, that I try to just sort of flip-flop the model. Like, I try to get the things that are harder to get her to eat at the beginning of the day, because she's just hungrier and more interested in eating then. So if I'm struggling with a vegetable, like, that will be on the lunch plate, rather than worrying about a battle at dinner time. So I think maybe just kind of opening your mind that it may not exactly track the way you eat in your exact sort of meal, the way you plan out your meals for the day, but I think if you get a little creative, you can get them to try more things. Right. I think we have time for one more question, which is, my farmer's market always seems so expensive. Do you have any tips for the budget-conscious person?
Sure. So a lot of that's something we hear often, and a lot of time, and I think, well, one of the main points we want to kind of respond with is that though it may be more expensive, you get a lot more nutrients, as we talked about on this webinar, from some of those foods. So you're really getting a lot more bang for your buck in terms of what you're putting into your body and how you're nourishing yourself. That all being said, we're obviously all need to watch how much we spend. So a lot of times ordering in bulk can help. So you can talk to some of your local farms and see if they do like a cow share, for example, which would be where you at the beginning of a season would buy into like an eighth of a cow or a quarter of a cow, whatever you need, and you would get all of the cuts of meat from that at once. You obviously need some freezer space, but you save a lot of money because you're not going in and buying the individual cuts when you need them. Another thing is using some of the lesser popular cuts of meat. So obviously, like filet is going to be the most expensive, but there's some other cuts that you are just as nutritious and you can use in like stews and in the slow cooker that taste really good and help with your budget. Any other tips?
The other thing is just also a mind shift, and this isn't something any of us want to hear, and especially my husband's always asking me, why are we spending what we spend on our mortgage on food? And this helps me know that years ago, people actually did spend about 43% of their income on food, and now we spend 13% of our income on food. And so it's just a big aha in how we all are thinking that food's expensive, but that's just because the alternative, the processed food, is so inexpensive. It's so cheap. Mm-hmm. So that always helps me feel a little better when I look at our budget and I realize, in our family, we really do spend quite a lot on food, and hopefully it pays off in the long run.
Yeah, but that's a really good point. And in a lot of other countries, they spend a larger portion of their incomes on food. And the other thing is to, look at your budget more holistically. I mean, going out to eat or, buying your lunch every day or buying that Starbucks coffee, that adds up a ton. I mean, that could easily give you an extra $50 or so a week for your groceries, which could buy you lots of healthy foods.
Lots of liver.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you could have liver for like $50, I think.
Nice. You're trying to get that liver in there somehow. Well, I just want to say thank you again to you both. And I've actually noticed some more comments and questions have come in. We're running out of time for them, but we will follow up with anyone that has additional questions for our excellent speakers. So thank you again so much, Kathy and Leslie. We really, really appreciate it. I'm going to turn it back over to Nicole, and she's going to conclude the event.
Thank you, everyone. You guys, that was so amazing. I loved it, and I'm sure all of our listeners did too. And I just want to let all of our listeners know that we do love hearing from you. So we know sometimes the best conversations happen after you've had a minute to digest all of this information. So please still share your comments below. We do still look at them. If I was just watching this as a spectator, for example, I would post how much I love learning about the difference in eggs, because I always wondered why there were so many egg selections in the grocery store. I don't know if any of you are like that, but I go in there and there's just so many different types, and it's all so mind-numbing. So thank you, ladies, for all this information, but especially for answering that timeless question that I've always had. I also wanted to let you guys all know we have our next webinar coming up on November 3rd, and it is car seat safety. Everything that you need to know about your car seat. And I know all of us parents, we do actually get in the car, so I think this is relevant to just about every parent out there. So stay with us and join our social media if you have not already done so, at NizzaWear and at Sarah Wells Bags. You can also register for this event, which will put you onto our mailing list. And we don't inundate you guys, honestly. We probably don't send you enough. But we do send you all of the detailed information that you are going to need to know. We typically do giveaways that go along, as you've seen today, with our topic. And so if you're interested in any of this, sign up and follow us and share. We greatly appreciate all of you and your comments. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on our next event.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.